So hello friends, so today I am going to make a video on the topic regulation of erythropoiesis. So first of all you should know about the definition of hypoxia, that decreased availability of oxygen to tissues of body. This is known as hypoxia. And second classification of hypoxia, so here hypoxic hypoxia where partial pressure oxygen is low, and anemic hypoxia where normal hemoglobin is low, and third it is stagnant hypoxia where blood flow is poor or it is inadequate or affected, and number 4 histotoxic hypoxia. And here basically hematocrit, simple that it is the ratio. And here that is one most important thing is that you should know that, so here regulation of erythropoiesis is under a negative feedback mechanism. So a negative feedback. So first of all that I am going to discuss about hypoxic hypoxia. So friends, you know that as we move from sea level towards the mountain, that is as we go upward, so here the partial pressure of oxygen goes on decreasing. So in fact this is the photo where the partial pressure of oxygen decreases. So here this is the photo. So you can see where the partial pressure of oxygen decreases, so therefore that is positive signals occurs. And also similarly that in case of pulmonary disease also, so here that is the supply of oxygen from alveoli to the blood is also reduced. So therefore written that is hypoxic hypoxia happens at high altitude area as partial pressure oxygen is less, and in pulmonary disease as partial pressure oxygen reduced, as partial pressure oxygen reduced due to impaired gaseous exchange. So here that this is the, so here normal phenomena. So here that in normal phenomena you should know that, so here 5 ml of oxygen are transported from alveoli to blood for 100 ml of oxygenated blood, and that these 5 ml of oxygen are transported by this 100 ml of oxygenated blood into the tissues. So here is a normal situation, but in abnormal situation you can see here there is abnormal, or so here basically hypoxic hypoxia, hypoxic hypoxia you can see here that, so here that is due to so here low partial pressure of oxygen or due to impaired so here basically gaseous exchange, or in pulmonary disease, so here from alveoli to blood that is 3 ml of oxygen transported, and this 3 ml of oxygen is also transported by this blood to the tissues. So therefore that is the blood supply or oxygen supply to the tissues is reduced. So therefore that is hypoxia occurs, because we have already discussed that decreased availability of oxygen to tissues is known as hypoxia. So therefore here in this case hypoxic hypoxia occurs, and this stimulates erythropoiesis. So therefore positive so here stimulates, that means so here it is a negative feedback mechanism because oxygen supply reduced, so therefore it wants more oxygen. So therefore that is written that is hypoxic hypoxia increases RBC production to increase oxygen availability to tissues. So friends, now I will discuss about the anemic hypoxia. But before anemic hypoxia, you should know about anemia. So here, and you will study about this in blood physiology also later. So therefore anemia, that it is a pathological condition in which the normal amount of hemoglobin or RBC is low according to age and sex. Yes, it is very important to mention age and sex also, because that is so here fetus or infants, so here that is small children, they have so here more hemoglobin as compared to adults, and females also have less hemoglobin as compared to adult males. So here you will understand the reason also later. So therefore that is anemic hypoxia is caused by this anemia and also by this smoking. Why smoking? Because we know that in smoking that is carbon monoxide binds with hemoglobin, so hemoglobin not available for oxygen transport. So here also you can see here that it is a normal, so therefore that is partial pressure oxygen is normal, so therefore that is blood 5 ml of oxygen transported to 100 ml oxygenated blood, and with the help of hemoglobin it is again transported to the tissue, so therefore it is normal. But here in the case of anemic hypoxia, you can see here that is a partial pressure oxygen is normal, so therefore 5 ml of oxygen is transported for 100 ml oxygenated blood here at the alveoli. But here that is the hemoglobin is less, so therefore oxygen transport is affected, so therefore instead of 5 ml 3 ml of oxygen transported to tissue, so therefore that is hypoxia occurs because oxygen availability to tissues is reduced, so therefore again that is it stimulates erythropoiesis because it wants more oxygen because oxygen supply is reduced to the tissues, so this is known as anemic hypoxia. So here that similarly you can understand about a stagnant hypoxia because inadequate blood flow. The causes is inadequate blood flow. So it is a normal. So here basically partial pressure oxygen is normal. Partial pressure of oxygen normal. Partial pressure of oxygen normal. Hemoglobin normal. So therefore that is 5 ml of oxygen transported to 100 ml oxygenated blood. So therefore it is transported and hemoglobin is normal, but it is transported but since the and also that is transported to tissue, so it is a normal situation. 5 ml of oxygen transported at this oxygenated blood at the alveolar level, and this same 5 ml of oxygen transported by this blood into the tissues. But here you can see here that in this condition, that is that partial pressure oxygen and hemoglobin are normal, so therefore 5 ml of oxygen transported to the oxygenated blood at the alveolar level. But here that it is due to inadequate or poor blood flow, that is instead of 5 less amount of oxygen has been transported, so therefore oxygen supply to tissues has been reduced, that means hypoxia occurs, so therefore it stimulates erythropoiesis because it wants more oxygen. So now friends, you can see that in your book guide also it is written that at very high altitudes where the quantity of oxygen in the air greatly reduced, insufficient oxygen are transported to the tissues and red blood cell production is greatly increased. And in this case it is not only the concentration of red blood cells, so here red blood cells, so here in the blood that controls the products that controls red blood cell production, but also the amount of oxygen transported to the tissues in relation to tissue demand for oxygen also. These statements you can read here also that at very high altitudes where the quantity of oxygen in the air is greatly reduced, insufficient oxygen transport to tissues and red blood cell production. In this case it is not under the concentration of red blood cells in the blood that controls RBC production, but also the amount of oxygen transported to tissues in relation to tissue demand for oxygen. So here that this is a case of hypoxic hypoxia. Now the second point is also like that. So here you can also see that various diseases of the circulation that decrease tissue blood flow, particularly that cause failure of oxygen absorption by the blood as it passes through the lungs, can also increase the rate of RBC production. This region especially apparent in prolonged cardiac failure and in many diseases and in many lung diseases because the tissue hypoxia resulting from this condition increases. So here that is RBC production with a resultant increase in hematocrit. So therefore that, so here lung diseases you can also see, so here pulmonary disease, it is also lung disease also, and basically you will study about this in the pathology of second year. So now so therefore that factors that decrease oxygenation. So first of all that you should know about the hypoxic hypoxia, not histotoxic, hypoxic hypoxia. That hypoxic hypoxia you can see there. So here it comes, so here that is under high altitude area where partial pressure oxygen is less, and also pulmonary disease where the gases exchange affected. And then again second, anemic hypoxia. So here you can see anemia and smoking. And number third, that is stagnant hypoxia, poor blood flow or low blood flow. And here that is, and about this hypoxia we will also have to study in the chapter respiratory physiology also. So friends, now you can see here that normal RBC range, that is in males. So here you can see it is higher than that in females. Now you are going to understand the region, that there are two regions, and now I'm going to explain. So you can see that factors affecting erythropoiesis. So first of all, general factors. So therefore that is hypoxia, as I have discussed that here, that is hypoxia stimulates erythropoiesis. And number two, hormones. So here you can see that erythropoietin mainly found in kidney and androgens, that they stimulate erythropoiesis. And you know that androgens, so here that is high concentration of androgens found in males, and these androgens stimulate erythropoiesis. And this estrogen, so here that is inhibits erythropoiesis, and high concentration of estrogen found in erythropoiesis. So therefore that since erythropoiesis, so here that is inhibits that since estrogen inhibits erythropoiesis, and therefore it is the main reason why females have less number of RBCs as compared to males. And the second reason is the menstruation. So friends, so in biochemistry you will have to study about vitamin E, and in vitamin E you can see here that one of the most important function is that is vitamin E prevents hemolysis in RBC and maintains integrity of RBC. Here that is vitamin C. It is about vitamin C also, that vitamin C also, that is functions we have to study. And you can see that this vitamin C also, that is protects or maintains vitamin A and vitamin E in antioxidant nature, and it also that is prevents the formation of methemoglobin, and it causes the formation of normal hemoglobin, which is necessary for the transport of oxygen, and it is also essential for the iron absorption, which is also essential for the hemoglobin synthesis. And also about pyridoxine you will have to study, and you can see here that is one of the most important function about pyridoxine is the heme synthesis. So therefore written that is spatial maturation factors, that is which are necessary for the for the RBC productions of vitamin E, A and C, and pyridoxine iron. And number 4 and 5, vitamin B12 and folic acid, and about this also I'm going to. So you can see here that is essentially important for final maturation of RBCs. That is there are two vitamins, that vitamin B12 and folic acid, and both these are essential for the synthesis of DNA, because each in a different way is required for the formation of thymidine triphosphate, that is one of the essential building blocks of DNA. And we know that is in RBC also, that is for the maturation, that is also it is required, that is RBC. So therefore deficiency of vitamin B12 and folic acid also causes, so here basically anemia. So therefore it is vitamin B12 and folic acid also essential for the RBC synthesis. So friends, you can see here that hematopoietic stem cells are converted into erythroblasts and then RBCs, and then tissue oxygenation, where tissue is supplied by oxygen. And this erythropoietin, that it is the hormone erythropoietin, and this erythropoietin is responsible for erythropoiesis. And this tissue oxygenation, and here that is erythropoietin, that there is a negative feedback, that means when tissue oxygen supply is reduced, so here it is stimulated, when it is increased it is inhibited. And the final, so therefore that is hematopoietic stem cells, that diagram, and also factors that decrease oxygenation, as I have mentioned. All these things are there. So you can also link this, that is about that is low hemoglobin and anemia. So these are about anemic hypoxia, and this low blood volume and this poor blood flow. These are about what? Basically stagnant hypoxia, and that this pulmonary disease is about hypoxia. Thank you.